Okay, so today we're going to start our 5.3 notes, the percent equation. Okay, so basically it is the part is equal to, which we're going to also interpret as the word is, the percent written as a decimal times the whole, right? Times the whole. Okay, so if we look at this first problem, what number, so here's the question, it says what. So that's where our x is, because we don't know what that is. The word is equal to, and 24%, right? We're going to move the decimal over 2 places, so that's going to be 0.24, and of is equates to multiply, okay, multiply. Of 50, like that right there. Okay? X equals 0.24 times 50. Right, so we'll go to our calculator and we'll go 0.24 times 50. And so that's going to be 12. So that gives us X is equal to 12. So 12 is 24% of 50. Okay. Now, a really helpful thing is to remember that the word of translates to multiply in math language. Okay? So as we look at this section right here, find 15% of 60. All right, so we're going to change 15% to move the decimal 2 places. Of means multiply, and then 60, like that. So we're going to go over here and go 0.15 times 60, and that is going to be 9. So the answer here is 9. So just remember, we're always moving the decimal 2 places before we multiply. Okay, why don't you do 2 through 4 on your own real quick. Okay, so on number 2, we'll move the decimal 2 places, 1, 2. So that's 0.36 times 80. All right, so that's going to be 28.8. 28.8, like that. All right, and then on number 3, move this over 2 places. So we have 0.22 times 45. All right, so 0.22 times 45, that is 9.9. All right, and then on number 4, 1, 2. So that's 0.325. Then we have our of again, 250. It's times 250. All right, so 0.325 times 250. That is going to be 81.25. 81.25. Okay. Good. All right, so let's look at the bottom right down here. Okay, so again, what number? That's going to be our x. We don't know what it is. The word is equal to 10%. That's 0.10. Of is multiply, and then 20. Okay, so that's going to be x will equal 0.10 times 20. All right, so 0.10 times 20, and that equals 2. So the x is 2. The number is 2. Okay, why don't you try to do that one on your own? All right, so what number is, now here we'll move the decimal 2 places. So that's going to be 1.12 times 35, like that. So 1.12 times 35, 1.12 times 35. So that's going to be 39.2. So x would equal 39.2. So when we do an assignment on this, you will have to write out the formula and give the answer to that. Okay? All right, let's keep going here. Now, following that same pattern that we just did, 9.5 is equal to what percent? That's what we're looking for. We're missing the percent of is multiply, and then we have our 25. So we're following the same thing. We're just, now we have a number over here. Now we want to get x by itself, x times 25. So the opposite of times is to divide. So we're going to divide by 25. All right, so 9.5 divided by 25. That is going to be 0.38. So that is going to be 0.38 is equal to x. Now, since it says what percent, so that would be, now we want to write that as a percent. So just like we did earlier, we moved the decimal 2 places, right? We're going to move the decimal 2 places, but this time we're going to move it right. Right? So 1, 2, right there. So 38% is the final answer. Okay? So you set up your equation, do the math, and then move the decimal 2 places if it's a percent. All right? Now, on this one, finding the whole. So let's write this out first. 39 is, and then this, move the decimal 2 places, 0.52. The of means multiply. And what number is our x? We don't know the x in this case. So I'm just going to come over here where I have some room to work. Okay, 39. I'm just going to rewrite it. Okay, so I'm going to get the x by itself. So we will divide by the 0.52 on both sides. So 39 divided by 0.52. All right, so 39 divided by 0.52. And so that is going to give me 75. All right, so 75 would equal x. So therefore, 39 is 52% of 75, right? If we were to write that out, 39 is 52% of 75. Okay. All right, so on this section, you're just going to be practicing what we just did. So I want you to do those 4 problems real quick, and then we'll come back together and check on them. All right, so let's look at number 5. So first of all, let's make a math sentence out of this. So we're going to go 44.8 is equal to what percent? So we don't know that part, but here's our of 140. Okay? So we have to write our math sentence first. So we will, we want to get the x by itself over here, right? Because we break this into the left and right. So we want to divide by 140. You have to divide by 140 on the other side as well. So over here I'm left with x. And over here I have 44.8 divided by 140. All right, so 44.8 divided by 140 that is 0.32, right? So that is 0.32, okay? Now, what is that as a percent, right? So we move the decimal, 1, 2, like that. So that's 32%. Okay, so we're going to do that same thing over here on number 6. First, write the math sentence. 80 is equal to what percent of 120? All right, we need to get x alone. Divide by 120. That'll cancel. Divide by 120 right here. So I'm going to go over here and 80 divided by 120. All right, and we're going to round that to point, we're just around 2 decimal places, 0.67. Okay, so 0.67 is equal to x. It's a percent. So we're going to move this 1, 2. So my final answer is 67%. Okay. Now, even though they've flipped, this time they've kind of flipped it around on us. The is over here. But writing it as a math sentence, none of that changes. Okay, we know what of represents, we know what is represents, so we can still write our sentence. So what percent, there's our x, there's our what percent of, that's still the multiply, is equal to 60.8. So it's still the same thing. I'm going to get the x all alone, so I will divide by 95. We have to divide by 95 over here as well. So x will equal 60.8 divided by 95. 60.8 divided by 95. That gives us 0.64. So x equals 0.64, but it is a percent. So to move this, 1, 2, right? And so that's going to be 64% is my final answer there. And then this one, same thing, write as a math sentence. What percent is our x, of is multiply, and then we have our number 12 is equal to, and then you bring down your 3.3. All right, we want to get x all alone, so we'll divide by 12 over here as well, so that cancels out. So x will equal 3.3 divided by 12, so let's go over here, 3.3 divided by 12, and that gives me, we'll just keep, since there's only 3, we'll keep all 3 of those, 0.275, 0.275, right? So since it's a percent, 1, 2, so that is 27.5%. Like that right there. Okay, great job. Okay. Now, we're going to work on these 3, 4, 5, and 6 down here. Okay. So we're going to do number 3 right here. Okay, so it says 3 is, right? So we're just going to go 3 is, we have what percent, what, so that's our x, of is multiply, and then 600. So 3 is what percent of 600? So again, we want to get x by itself. So we'll divide by 600. Divide by 600 over here as well. So 3 divided by 600. That is 0.005. So 0.005 is equal to x, like that right there. Okay, now, since it is a percent on number 3, we're going to move the decimal 1, 2, so that my final answer is 0.5%. Okay, so it's still a percent, even though it still has that decimal there, 0.5%. All right, so let's look at, let me draw this line, number 4. All right, so we need to change that to a math sentence. So here we have what percent, so there's the what, so that's our x, of 20, so of is multiply, 20 is 18, is equal to 18. So again, we're looking for a percent on this. So we're going to divide by 20. So x will equal 18 divided by 20. So we'll go over here, 18 divided by 20. That is 0.9. So that is 0.9. Now since it's a percent, we have to move the decimal 2 places. 1, 2. So I need my decimal here. That means I have to add a 0. So it's 90%. And I don't have to write the trailing decimal at that point. All right, so we had to add a 0 to be able to make it into a 90. So that's 90% on that one. All right, so number 5. Change this to a math sentence. 8 is, right, so we have 8 is equal to, and then we have 80%. Now we want to write that as a decimal, so that is 0.80. And we have our word of and what number? Of what number? So that's where the what is, that's where our x is. All right, so from there, we want to get the x all alone. So that means we divide by the 0.80. Divide by the 0.80. So it's 8 divided by 0.80. So we'll go 8 divided by 0.80. And that's going to give you 10. All right. So that is 10. So 10 is equal to x. So 90 is, 8 is 80% of 10. 8 is 80% of 10. All right, and then our last one from this little section, number 6. All right, so we'll go 90 is, and then we have to move the decimal 1, 2. So it's 1.8 of what number? Okay, so that's what we don't know. We don't know the number. All right, so we're going to divide by 1.8. Divide by 1.8. That way that cancels out, and we're left with just x. So 90 divided by 1.8. 90 divided by 1.8. That equals 50. So 90 is 180% of 50. Okay, awesome. All right. Okay, we're going to look at this next page. We're going to answer these questions real quick. Okay, and so on number 2, That's going to be 0.20 times 150 is what number? So it's 0.20 times 150. So that's 0.2 times 150. And that's going to be 30. So 30 is that number. So on number 2, 45 is what percent of 60? So we'll divide by 60. All right, so 45 divided by 60 is 0.75. So that's 0.75 is equal to X. But since it's a percent, my final answer is 75% because I moved the decimal 2 places. So then on number 3, all right, we want to change this to a decimal. 0.35 of what number is 35? Okay, so here's your of, here's your is. All right, so we want to divide by 0.35. That way this cancels out, we're left with X. So 35 divided by 0.35, 35 divided by 0.35, that is 100. All right, so X would be 100. So 35% is 100% of 35. 35% of 100 is 35. Sorry. All right, so then on number 5, so this one, even though it's little, we're still moving the decimal 2 places. So that's 0.008 of 150 is what number? So we just translate everything just like what? So 0.008 times 150, 0.008 times 150, and that's going to be 1.2. All right, so 1.2 would be X, because that's a really small percent, and so that's a really small answer. All right, so then on number 5, all right, write the math sentence. 29 is what percent of 20, like that right there. And then we're going to divide by 20. So 29 divided by 20, 9 divided by 20, that's going to be 1.45. So 1.45 is equal to X. And we're looking for a percent. So we move to the right, 1, 2. So it's 145%. Okay, so last one from this section. We're going to need to move the decimal 1, 2. So we have to go 0.005. Of means to multiply. What number, we don't know that, is equal to 12. So we want to get X alone. So we'll divide by 0.005. Divide by 0.005. So X will equal 12 divided by 0.005. And that number is 2,400. All right, awesome. Okay, let's go. We're going to go down to, I believe it's your 4th page, but we're going to go to this example for connecting to real life. Okay? All right, you are paying for lunch and receive the bill shown right here. Find the percent of sales tax on the food total. All right, so we had our food. The tax is 1.65. So the total is 29.15. Okay, so on this bill, they say, here's your total of the food that you bought. Here's the amount of tax. So to find the tax, right, you take the food, or you take the bill, right? You take the bill times the tax percent, right? The tax percent to get the amount of the tax, okay? Right? So you take the bill, you multiply it by some percentage to get the amount. So if we were going to set this up, it would be that $1.65 is what percent of the $27.50. 1.65 is what percent of $27.50. All right, so just like we've been doing, we're going to go 1.65 is what percent of 27.50. Okay, so then we're going to divide by 27.50. Divide by 27.50. So we're going to get, so 165 divided by 27.50. So 1.65 divided by 27.50. So that's going to give us 0.06. So that's 0.06 is equal to X. So let's change that to a percent. Right, we go 1, 2. So that is 6% in our sales tax. 6% sales tax. Okay. So then you leave a 16% tip on the food total. So now find the total amount. So we have our total right here. Then we're going to add a tip to that, okay? So we're leaving a tip on the food total. So that means this one right here. Our 16% is going to come from that. So we're going to go, what is 16% of the 27.50, right? So X is equal to 0.16 of 27.50, all right? So we're going to multiply that together. So we're going to go over here and go 0.16 times 27.50 is equal to 4.4. So X is equal to 4.4. Now, since we're talking dollars and cents, that is $4.40. Okay, now, what they want us to do then is we're going to take that, right, and that is our tip, right? So we're going to put that on here, $4.40. So now to get the total, we just add that to the 29.15, right? So it's 29.15 plus our tip, which is 4.40. So we're going to go over here and go $29.15 plus $4.40. So that's going to be $33.55. All right, so that is $33.55. Okay, I'll write that out down here if you want me to. So we took the 29.15 plus the 4.40. All right, and that was $33.55. Okay, great job.